Okay, here we are again. So this is the front deck. We only took away the holly, the lavatera, and those other plants were hiding the view. Nothing else. That English ivy was a really big battle to get rid of, and we're continuing to get rid of it. And the pond will not be filled again, as it is a waste of water and energy. We're just going to clean it up the best we can and let the next people decide what they would like to do, if they want a pond or not. But we're just sort of running out of money, and we just can't do nothing with that. And this bush here, I believe it is a cyanthus, will have to be trimmed back quite a bit. It's got deadly thorns and nobody really likes them, and it's got overgrown and out of hand. So it'll be pruned at an arm's length, to say the least, as it is treacherous to prune and cut and try to maintain. And all your ichabus come back up. I didn't touch nothing in the front, Pat, as you could see. Everything is the same as it was, so I don't know what your friends were complaining about, saying that, oh, the landscaping's changed and this has changed and that's changed. Well, we haven't touched the front yard yet, so I don't know what they were talking about. I think they were confused with the property next door at the cottage garden and not here at all. So I had to take out the Mugus penis because its roots were coming back to the cistern, and we didn't really want that. You planted it too close. So it's gone now, and you have a total view from your bedroom, the front bedroom here. The total view now, where you didn't before. It was taken away. If you were sitting on this deck, you would see nothing. Now you have a fabulous view, and I think that's the main selling feature of this property, is the fabulous view. So don't forget that. That's why we had to get rid of some of these plants, Pat. I know you love them dearly, but it's not helping us sell the property by having all these plants in the way. And there's still a lot more to be trimmed around here and shortened up and pruned. And this deck, once all the work's done, then we will put upright posts and some more glass around here. If I can scrounge some more, but this deck's been all rebuilt, reinforced, and we will have a ramp coming down on this side as well for the ease of getting in and out. Instead of having steps, a ramp will be preferable, and it won't be that expensive to do. So I'll carry on to the back of the house to show you what was going on here. Everything's cleaned up around here. Now you could actually find the septic tanks and the cleanouts without any problem at all. But that had to be all taken away, all the underbrush. Now once the lawns get cut, it'll be a lot better, but with this, not a big priority right now. Our main priority is the house. As I said, we've got to get to the bare bones, the structure, first. And all your trees are still standing here. We haven't done a thing back here. And these are materials that we need for the house to carry on. And here's the pond. We finally got it cleaned out. And here's the pile that we took out of it. So we might resuscitate that pond with a little waterfall up there coming down into the pond. I think it would be attractive, but we have to drain it completely, as there's oil in it, and I don't know how oil got in there, but as long as we don't have to spend too much money on it, we'll take it out and get it going again. Your irises are still here. This Harry Lauder's walking cane got really messed up with some other tree that's in there. I'm not sure what it is. I'll have to think about that later. Anyways, now we're at the back of the house. This is Marcus's truck. And there we've put on a roof overhead. Compared to what it used to be, there's a skylight there and you have an area of shelter. That makes it more impressive when they're coming in, believe it or not. It looks really nice. But we're not quite finished. As you can see, we put a log in all the way across, so it looks like it's the original part of the structure. And underneath, we're going to put in, I have some 1x4, 1x6 cedar will be all lined with tongue and groove cedar. And up there, in that right corner, we're going to cover all that up with cedar, and it's going to help us hide where that top log is pretty rotten. So we're going to hide a lot of stuff by doing this. And still correcting it. We're not pulling a fast one on anybody by any means. And here, this window will have the same window frame put around. As you can see how ugly that is. And the water was just pouring in there. So now the water won't be able to get in there as it's tightened up with a sealant. The edges will have the same thing done. As you can see, this log's all rotten because the water seeped back to right next to the door. So all these windows here, this window here, the door, and that window will all be framed in with 1x7 cedar. So it'll look really nice. And it'll be impressive when they come in. See, you can see this beside the window. Well, that is a pretty hard thing to hide. He's going to hide all of this. We'll be able to by putting another piece in. But here is rotten as well. So when we have the 1x6 cedar here, it's going to hide all that. And this will be all caulked. And then it'll be tight again. So if you're wondering why it takes so much time, well, each one of these logs, like this one here, was replaced. This one was totally rotten. Totally rotten. That was taken out and another one put in. And here's another one here where you had your roses growing. So we took it, it was rotten, the whole half of it. So we cut it off and then put another piece in, as you can see. Now we put the dark stain on and you won't be able to tell that that's been replaced, hopefully. So Marcus is working on sanding all this down and getting it ready to put the window frames on, to hide all that. You can see all the tools as necessary. Some of them we had to buy ourselves because they were special tools that we couldn't get in with a regular tool. So I got all the scaffolding put up. We're concentrating on the southeast side and the south side primarily. That is the worst. And once that's gone and Robert's done there, we won't need Robert's help anymore. But he is a craftsman and it isn't possible for the ordinary layman to do what he was doing. So that's why we had to hire somebody special. And nobody on the island had the capabilities or the knowledge to do that. So that tells you that story. Anyway, so this has to be all sanded down, this whole side and the front, as I told you. So I'm looking at least another month, more like 6 weeks. So this is April 15th, May 15th, June 1st to June 15th. The outside and most of the inside should be done. I'm not going to replace this ramp as it's still pretty sound. And we don't need to put any extra expense. And your bay trees growing like mad still. We left that there. Here's some volunteer plants that came up by themselves. Some daffs, some hyacinths, some other plants that I'm not sure of what they are. It's all pretty clean around here. We will put in some annuals. Nothing that's going to be invasive and take over the whole veranda again and rot it all out. It's all good now. It's never going to rot now. Now we could actually find a well again that was contaminated. Now it's secure. It's locked. And we get in and out of there no problem. So it'll look a lot different once we got the glass up and the railing and the caps on. As you can see, this was cleaned up here. Had to take out all that ivy. It was all tangled up, and that was rotting the house, the porch, I should say. Yeah. And here's where I've been burning for the last month and a half. Now there ain't much left to burn. We got rid of all the rotten wood, all the garbage. All we got left is this big hole in the ground that we will clean up and let the next buyers decide what they want to do with it. And we got all this to take away. That's another 2 or 3 truckloads. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it. And Marcus got most of all the stuff cleaned up around here. And this side needs to be all cleaned up where the old fence was in the driveway. All this stuff is growing over. If that's something you planted, I'm not sure what it is, but it sure is ugly and hideous and doesn't do a thing for the property. Just looks unkept and messy. So it'll all have to be taken out. And we're going to take a lot of the lower branches out of the arbutus that's dead to give it a clean, fresh look. This has all been neglected for years. The blackberries, everything's just running amok here. And as you can see, nothing's been touched in the front here. Like I said, I don't know what your friends were talking about, that the gardens were a mess. Nothing's been touched, so how could they actually say that? So here's living proof for yourself. I'm doing this with a video just to show you that nothing has been touched there. So don't be fretting about rumors that people are gossiping about, because we don't need that. I got enough on my plate without having to satisfy the onlookers of what the place should look like. If they're that interested, they could come by with a hoe and a shovel and start raking and digging and planting themselves. Anyways, that's about it for the outside.